for this example, I will use the product specs category. The idea behind this example is that I want to send to my supplier a view that they can fill out information about a product spec. So by now, what I have been doing is I have been basically creating a division in my list of fields where I would basically group the fields that I need my supplier to fill out. And then from those, then basically I would create a table view to expose those fields, basically by using the toggle button here at the top, and then exposing those fields on the view. And then at a later stage, I would basically invite them in my project as collaborators and then ask them to basically focus in this view and fill out basically the information just by clicking on each field at a time. Now, FormView allows us to extend this workflow by creating a shareable form based on a specific sequence of fields and share that with people outside of my company. So in order for me to do that, I will click to create a new view. And I will name this form view for now, and then select the form option here and hit create view. There are no fields in my form yet, so let's hit the pencil button to edit the form. And that's very similar to the document view, the dialog, where basically I can select fields and drag and drop them on my form. I'll start by adding some static text in my form where I can say fill out, just give instructions to my supplier, right? So fill out for every new spec, and then X out, and then start adding the fields that I want my supplier to fill out. So the first one will be the model. So the first one will be the product website. I wanted to go under the static text. And so as you can see, when I drag and drop a field on my form, I'm greeted with some options for this specific field. So the first one is the title, which basically allows me to alter the name of the field that I was originally given. In this specific example, I like it, so I'll leave it like that. And then instructions is another way to override the description that the field comes with. In this case, I want to just say that this is the product's website URL. And a placeholder allows me to actually input a value that will show up by default. Right now, I don't want to have any placeholder, so I will leave this empty. And then I'll just give this specific field a color and then a background color. And then basically we have also made the option to have a field, to mark a field as required or not. In this case, I want the product website to be required, so I'll click required and then X out. Now, as I X out, you can see that basically the background color has been applied and the updated description as well. So I'll keep going with the model. I like everything that I see here. Just give it a color and mark this as required. Then the unit cost, again, just give it a color and mark it required. The power requirement is another one that I want to be required. And you can see that the instructions say basically no, yes. And last but not least is the desired quantity. This one I actually don't want it to be required, so I'm going to leave it blank, but just give it and so I will just assign a different color for it to be just different. For just to show that basically it's also not required. Perfect. Now I'll also add a static image at the bottom. And I can either upload a new one or select an existing one. In this case, I'm just going to select an existing one. I already have my paper plane here. I'm going to make it slightly smaller and maybe leave it there in the center. I like it. X out. And then you can see that right next to the fields, I also have the form settings. So let's go through those as well. The form title allows me to alter the name of the view that I had originally. The form title allows me to basically alter the name of the view that I have originally given. So I would just call this form for supplier. Since I already have some kind of static text here, I will just leave the form description empty, but the description will be something that could provide some additional instructions to my supplier. And I can actually also upload my logo. I can upload a new one or select an existing one. I have my banner here, which I like it to be center. I'll make it maybe a little bit smaller. And then similarly to the fields, I can now select also a background color. So I will select the background color for my view. And I'm also able to select the color for the submit button. So the submit button gets a purple. And also a public message that will display when someone submits a form. Perfect. Now I'll hit publish. And so that is basically how my form looks like. Now the next step basically is to share the view externally. And so we'll click the share view button, and you'll see the options here that you see are basically the same options that the shared views have, which means that I am able to share a form view using a secret link or embed a form view on my website or a Notion page that I'm using for my project. In this case, I'm just going to activate the secret link, and I can copy the secret link and share it with my supplier. And let's take a look at how the form view looks like in a public setting. There you go. So right now you can see that basically this is what my supplier will see when they open up that link. So let's go ahead and create one product spec just for this example. I'm just going to add the project URL. Then add the model, the unit cost, and you can see that all of those fields are required. If, for instance, I X out, you can see that now it says, hey, this field is required. So I need to make sure that I input this information, say yes. And the desired quantity is optional, but anyways, I'm going to say 10. And I'll hit the submit button. You can see the public message here. So let's go back into our project and see how that looks like. Product specs. And you can see that basically new furniture has been created with the information from the form already filled out for that specific furniture. So I can go ahead and start adding the information as I want to.